Well, welcome back to the Buzz in Business. With me now, I have Brenda States from Allstate Insurance. Hi, Brenda. It's good to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great, Brenda. Tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe, and maybe where you're from, and so tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm from a local city, and I now live in Brunswick with my husband, who is a Brunswick alumni.
Okay.
And I have a child, Cassidy, who's in Brunswick High School, and my son, Connor, who's at Edwards Middle School.
Okay, so how long have you been living in Brunswick then?
Over 8 years now.
Okay, so now you're in the insurance business with Allstate Insurance.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, what's it like to be with Allstate, what's it like to be in the insurance business?
It's actually something I never dreamt I would be in, but I do love it. I've been with Allstate for over 18 years.
Okay.
15 years in Brunswick now.
All right. So what made you choose Allstate?
Actually, it was a fluke. I was looking for a new job when I was young, and I answered an ad, and I worked for an Allstate agent in Strongsville for 3 years. Okay.
So now being in the insurance business, I got to imagine it's got to have its challenges. So what would you say? What are some of the challenges being an agent for Allstate?
I think not even just for Allstate, but any insurance company these days is the weather.
Okay.
There's definitely been some weather issues in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the job interesting every day and challenging, but I love what I do. So
when you're saying the weather, anything specific about the weather, or?
Well, we've had a lot of wind and hail, as everyone knows, and a lot of flooding in Ohio. So there's been issues.
Okay. With that, with the hailstorms, you're right. If I look back over the last couple of years, there seems to be a lot of roofs being replaced.
Yes.
So how does that affect us, just in general? Does homeowners insurance start to raise, or is Ohio becoming a...
Yes, Ohio is definitely becoming one of the highest paid states in the United States for claims.
Really?
Yes, and it's affecting the way coverages are being carried by carriers all across the board for roofs.
Okay, so even more than Florida, huh?
Yes, more than Florida, actually.
Wow, that's kind of hard, but I just got, I go down some neighborhoods and you're seeing all these roofs being replaced. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this can't be good.
No, the more signs you see in yards, unfortunately, the claims are being paid out, so.
So what are some of the challenges being in the insurance business that you're seeing? I mean, there seems to be so much competition in that. What do you perceive as your biggest challenge?
I think everything in every business, there's a challenge in all different carriers.
Okay.
But I've never really looked at that as a challenge to me personally. For my business, I just do my job, take care of my clients, and I think you reap the benefits from referrals from that aspect.
Okay. Now, what about, the biggest thing now is web, go online and get all your insurances, and you see all these commercials, and maybe talk about that. It can't be all that.
Well,
seems too good to be true sometimes.
A lot of them, yes, it can be. You have to be careful on the coverages they're selling. They can say they're going to save you tons of money, but you could be at state minimum coverages, which isn't good for anyone if you're in a car accident.
Why do you say that?
Well, state minimum coverage is very low. So if I was to injure someone in a car accident and had $12,500 for coverage, you're probably going to get an attorney letter, because then there's not enough to satisfy the claim.
So state minimum isn't...
It's not what it's cracked up to be. No.
Okay, so a lot of people wind up being underinsured or wind up... Okay, didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so,
that's why it's good to have an agent, because an agent should do their job and go over your coverages with you.
Well, speaking of, now I know with homeowners insurance, a lot of times people always talk about flood insurance.
Correct.
And do you have it, or flood? And I look at that sometimes kind of confusing. What exactly is it, or maybe you can...
Yeah, there's a big difference, because people confuse flood coverage and water backup coverage.
Okay.
Water backup you can add onto your home insurance with your company, but flood insurance is different. That you actually have to get through FEMA, which you can get through your insurance agent, but it's not through, say, Allstate. It's through FEMA. So
is that where sometimes we're talking about somebody being in a flood zone, you need to get special, so Allstate doesn't cover that?
No, that would go to FEMA.
All right, but what you refer to, or a lot of people, which I think they confuse that.
Yes, they do.
Is water backup. So what does that mean specifically?
Water backup is any water that comes up through sewers or drains in your home. Typically you'll see it in your basement. And if it comes up through a sewer or drain, if you do not have that coverage, you do not have coverage on through your home policy automatically. And it can be a big claim.
Okay. So do a lot of people realize that difference, or?
Most people don't read their policies.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the agent's job, once again, because it's not very fun to read.
There you go.
But they should be offered it annually in a review and at least know that they have it, and if they don't have it, what they're missing in the time of a claim.
Well, I definitely agree with you with so many people want to do everything online, and it seems so easy, just check the boxes here and that, but I guess sometimes the devil's in the details, or
Correct.
something happens. Well, nobody explained that to me, and that's
Correct.
where you set yourself apart.
Right. I
Makes
try.
sense, and say, hey, you know what, you're missing this or this. Okay. So what all does Allstate offer? So we talked a little bit about homeowners insurance and about car insurance.
Basically all
else?
your toys too, your motorcycles, your RVs, your ATVs,
Okay.
anything like that we call the toys.
Toys.
Then we have the umbrella policy for the
Okay.
liability to blanket over everything in the time of a claim.
Okay.
And then also life insurance, annuities. I actually house a financial specialist,
Okay.
Iris Kessler, who brokers through with Allstate to do
Okay.
retirement.
All right.
So it's another little perk that I have in my
Great.
agency.
So real quick, what's umbrella insurance?
Umbrella basically is there to protect your assets in the time that
Okay.
you're sued on your home or your auto policy, or say
Okay.
your motorcycle. So it blankets over all your coverages,
All right.
which is very important. If your auto liability is exhausted, then the umbrella's there to take over after
look
that.
at- So Brenda, as we wrap up this episode, is there anything you would like to tell the viewers?
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to know that last month was Life Insurance Awareness
Okay.
Month, and it's an important coverages that a lot of families don't have.
Sure.
And I think they think it's expensive, but it's really not. There's really life insurance to fit anyone's budget. And also, I moved my office after 15 years of being on Pearl Road. I'm centrally located on 303,
Okay.
across from City Hall. So
Right.
we're always open, so please feel free to stop by.
Great. Well, this concludes this episode of Buzz on Business. Thank you very much.